Good morning, welcome back. Out super early this morning as it's Mother's Day, so I've got my mum, mother-in-law and grandmother-in-law, if that's the right term, coming around for brunch later on, so I had to get out super early for my long run, so got up at 6, had a bit of breakfast, and then headed out, I think just after 6:30, so I'm hoping to be back about 9:30, 10, probably about 9:30 to be fair, depending on the route that I do, but good week training. I think I'll be close to 16 hours, 17 hours of training with both strength and conditioning this week. I did about 177 mile on the bike. I was hoping to go out with the club yesterday, but unfortunately we had to have one of our chickens put down yesterday morning. Really sad. We lost 2 in the last 2 weeks, so it's quite, not very nice at all, to be fair. So we had to go and have her put down yesterday morning, so I couldn't get out with the club, so in the end I came back and did a couple of 2.5 hour session on Zwift, which is part of the training plan anyway, but sometimes I opt out for that to get a club ride in because it's a really aggressive club ride generally, and I just like to get out on the roads rather than doing all my sessions on Zwift. So so a bit of a sad day yesterday really. On the positive side though, we went to have a look at a couple of other chickens, because we've got one chicken on her own now, which isn't good for her, so I know it sounds a little bit harsh to be going straight out looking for a new pet after one passes away, but we can't really, as a flock animal, we can't really leave her on her own for too long. So but the first batch of chickens we had rescue hens, which was a really nice thing to do, but they didn't last very long at all. They're just poor little creatures. They're just, when you pick them up, they're just they're in such a state and had such a hard life, and the sort of emotional turmoil of having these animals for 6-7 months, maybe a bit longer, and then having to then passing away. So last time we had some hybrid chickens who last about anywhere up to about 5 years, so this time we've opted to get a couple of purebred chickens, so that can last up to 8 years, 10 years hopefully. So, but if they get ill, obviously they could only last a couple of years, but the theory is that we'll try and get some that last a little bit longer, just because it's hard work having a pet for a couple of years and having to say goodbye. So, but anyway, on the training side, had a good week. My cycling's gone pretty well. I had a couple of good sessions this week, longer efforts, 1.5 hours, because I'm on that build phase, first sort of 8-week block of the training plan, so which culminated in yesterday's sort of 2.5 hour session, which was sort of main bulk of that was a 20 minutes at sort of 200 watts, a 10-minute slot at 230, back to 200, back to 230 for 10 minutes, then back to 200. So I did a 10 minutes at 200 3 times, and they were broken up by 2 10-minute 230s, and then after that it was then another 20-minute block, and then a 5 minutes at 260, 20 minutes at 200 again, another 5 minutes at 260, and then back to a final 20 minutes of 200. So a good solid sort of session. I don't know how everyone else finds it, but I used to start watching a bit of telly on the turbo, but it feels worse watching the telly. So yesterday I put a bit of GCN Plus on and watched a bit of the cycling on, well, I just had it as background imagery, but I opted for music yesterday just to one of my Spotify playlists. It's actually my warm-up list that I've created, which I'll put a link in the description below. So I just listened to that, which actually I find for some reason a bit better than, I think I get distracted if I'm watching a film or stuff like that, and I don't seem to focus as much. I find it harder work, so I did that yesterday. And then run-wise, I had a good couple of sessions running. I had sort of a Monday morning session, which was started with a 10-minute effort, 3-minute recovery, 8-minute effort, I think it was a 2-minute recovery, 6-minute effort, 1-minute recovery, 4-minute effort, and I think it was another minute recovery, and then a final sort of 2-minute effort, which was off like 30 seconds. So like 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 on the grass. It's a bit muddy underfoot, but that went pretty well. And then had another session on Thursday. So 2 good sort of run sessions, and then just the commute back in out of work this week on the bike. So yeah, so I topped out about nearly 9.5 hours on the bike, and I think I'll be close to sort of 6 hours running. So I'm about 16 hours worth of training this week, with a strength and conditioning session on the Friday. So most volume I've done for a while, most bike mileage I've done for a little while, so pleased with that. I think the bike mileage though, difficult to tell on Zwift, because you seem to go a lot quicker sometimes than maybe on the road, and then sometimes you've got a hilly session and you hardly do any miles. So I tend to work, rather than look at the mileage, it is good to look at the mileage, because I just think, oh, it's nice just for the kudos for yourself, but I tend to look at the hours I'm doing rather than the mileage, because especially on the bike, you just, depending on the routes you're going on Zwift, depending on if I'm cycling into work, the mileage can be really up and down. I could have a 20 mile swing depending on the type of ride that I'm doing. So I just tend to look at make sure I'm doing the hours really, more so, because your body, I was always, someone once told me the body only knows time and effort. So which is why I do a lot of my trail runs and don't worry about mileage too much as well, because an hour running the trails in the morning it's quite a lot different than if I was doing an hour on the canal or road. So I always, time and effort is the key. Yeah, so today, long run today, should be good. Like I said, I felt good after yesterday's bike, and had a really good strength and conditioning session on Friday with Simon. I'm up to a maximum nearly in terms of the reps and stuff I'm doing. The kettlebell work's gone really well, and then the sort of like the efforts that I do after that, sort of the squat jumps and stuff like that, I think I was up to 2 sets of 8 this week. I think it's 45 seconds on, 15 off, and the max we're going to take that to is 9, 2 sets of 9, and then we're getting to the summer period then when we can get outside and get some more working out there. So I've got a few more weeks of that before we then switch it up, but that's going well, considering it's probably 6-7 weeks back now from my illness, and I'm back to pretty much where I was. So I think I probably made the right call, but the Europeans this weekend in Italy, I don't know what the races look like. I had a quick look at some of the sprint yesterday. It looked like it was a GB on tour. There didn't seem to be many countries there, but that seems to be sometimes the case at the Europeans. So a bit gutted I'm not there, especially after the cancellation of the middle distances this year, and I'm going to miss out on the Worlds as well. So and I'm still undecided about the Powerman yet. Haven't made a decision whether I'm going to do that or not, so we'll see. But yeah, so today let's get this run done. Looking forward to it. I'll probably have to rest, have a bit of a snooze later on after a couple of early days, so but yeah, hopefully it should be enjoyable. Like and subscribe if you haven't, really appreciate it if you could. I'm trying to also subscribe to a few of you that have subscribed to myself. It's good to have a little community of people on YouTube, so and if you've got any ideas of the type of content you want to see or you're interested in, whether it's more specific stuff about my running program or the bike workouts that I do, bike setups, stuff I'm doing for strength and conditioning, let me know and I can give some more informative sort of videos on that sort of stuff. But yeah, see you all soon.